Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome, Penny Van. How you doing there? Welcome. Hello there, Gary. Hello there, Thomas. Hello. How's everybody doing on a Thursday evening? So, Justin, guess what we got coming in?
What do we got coming in, Grizz?
So we got our new sponsors coming in. Hello there, Henry.
Oh, fantastic.
And, welcome, Nana Deca. You're welcome. It's a great coupon. Hell, welcome. Yeah, so our beer products sponsors are coming in. I can't wait. So, yeah, so stand by. We got some new sponsors coming in. So how are you doing, Mr. Decker?
I'm doing just living the dream today.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Round of applause to you. So what we got cooking tonight?
All right. Tonight we've got a awesome guest. I met this fella in person a few years back now. It must be 7 or 8 years ago since I first met this guy. And I want to start out by saying that I am proud to call this man my friend, not because of his Bigfoot research and what he's done for the community, but because of who he is outside of that world. This guy comes from Colorado and Nebraska area. And if somebody goes missing up in the mountains, like we talk about 411 and missing people, this guy will go out by himself searching for people. This guy knows his mountains, and he will devote his time and effort to try and find people that are missing out hiking and in the mountains.
Wow.
Man, he just has my utmost respect for what he does and his heart and how he loves people. And so that's why I'm proud to call him my friend. On top of that, he is kind of the progenitor of Bigfoot festivals and stuff in Colorado. He's had personal experiences, personal excitings. We've talked about him before on the show with a couple incidences, and we'll tie those in tonight. But I'm really proud to have my good friend Ken Collins on the show tonight out from Colorado.
And come on down, Mr. Collins. Welcome.
Wow, thank you, Justin and Grizz.
Yeah, absolutely,
right
man.
Welcome to the show. Introduce yourself, sir.
Well, heck, Justin just did it. What a great job.
Yeah. Right on.
Hi, guys. I'm Kenneth Collins from Estes Park, Colorado right now. And that's where I'm at. And excited to be on the show with JD and Grizz. And we had a few minutes prior to opening tonight and got to talk with Grizz, and what a nice
Yeah,
guy.
he got
I mean,
me fired up. I
what a nice guy. So I'm looking forward to the
Yeah.
show tonight. Thank you.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I know some about this guy. And ladies and gentlemen, remember that big footprint, that big print that took up the whole back of a pickup truck? Y'all thought I was like smoking something, and y'all like, shut the front door, Riz. That's the guy that casted that track. And we're going to talk about that a little
Absolutely.
later. So,
Yeah.
yes. Hey, Lee Covey, welcome to the show. So, but yeah, I'm glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right, we got all kinds of stuff from Ken, bunch of pictures. Hopefully, we'll be able to get them up. But let's start like we always do, Ken. What got you started to this, man, and what kind of built you up to where you are now when it comes to your research and your involvement in the community?
How funny. I just was on a podcast a couple of nights ago with my buddy Jim Myers from the Sasquatch Outpost up in Bailey. And,
Hmm.
he asked the same question, of course. And, well, when I got started, how is watching a flick, and I was invited to a birthday party. I lived in a small town in Nebraska, and farmers. We didn't have many neighbors, so got asked to a birthday party, and they had a flick in town that could be allowed to go see. I never went to a movie ever, and first movie ever. We go into town. There's four of us, and three of them go off. At the time, there was Planet of the Apes showing or The Legend of Boggy Creek, and something veered me off towards The Legend of Boggy Creek, and they went off to see Planet of the Apes. And I don't even remember getting through the movie. I just know that my impaction on that was it seeded me, because I said to myself, we're not monkeys. But the funny thing about all that is that when it got out of the movies, the other three are running around like the apes and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, we're not apes. And I just watched the movie, and I walked around like in shock. So at that time, I walked away with a seed in me that said, I want to find out a little later on in my life what this will be about. And that was just something that you're 12 years old, you're in the cornfields of Nebraska. What are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be doing a 12-year-old what does. But instead, that put that such of impact on me. I think a lot of us out there, I'm 62. I'm just saying I was 12 then. I'm just saying a lot of researchers start with that movie, and we didn't call it Bigfoot, but a monster. So that's what got the seed going. Early age, Nebraska boy, watching The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Interesting.
So that got it going.
And I think there's a lot of people that have that same story, man. Either The Legend of Boggy Creek or In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, seeing the PG film. I think those are the two probably biggest influencers other than personal experiences. You know what I mean? Starting people off in this crazy research world that we all got ourselves involved in. Now, it was funny because I met Ken. I took a vacation with my now ex-wife, my wife, and my kids. It must be 9 years ago now, and there had been a newspaper article because you had just had a conference like the week before we got there in Estes Park, and I was upset because I'm like, man, I didn't get to go. If we had planned this differently, I could have gone to this thing. It was great. But then I find out about this gas station where people said, hey, if you like Bigfoot, you should go to this gas station and talk to this guy. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I get there, and there's Ken, and an entire wall behind the cashier, the desk right there. The entire wall is dedicated to Bigfoot and Bigfoot pictures and news clippings. And I don't know how long we sat there and talked, and Ken showed me some of the pictures from his own personal sightings.
Oh.
And stuff that he had. And ever since then, I was just blown away with what was going on out there in Estes Park and in that area of Colorado. It was absolutely amazing. So tell us, Ken, about your sightings and when did they start? Were you looking for Bigfoot before you had your first experience, or did that kind of start you as an adult looking and researching more?
Well, from Nebraska, we moved shortly right after that to Colorado. And
Hmm.
so we spent like from my 13, 14 up till now, whatever, in Colorado. And when I got to Colorado, about 20, early 20s, I started up in the Colorado Springs area, the Rampart Range Road, and a road that goes up to Cripple Creek, Colorado. We used back in them days, you had 3 tunnels that went to Cripple Creek. Did a lot of stuff
Hmm.
in that area, and I try to stay in Teller County, El Paso County, and just around Colorado Springs. It's got some good areas. It's got South Cheyenne Canyon. You got the Cripple Creek area you can get right into very quickly. But I never had ever a class sighting, but I would get a lot of stuff in those areas, but I wouldn't get a sighting. And finally, like when I got into about 30, mid 30s, I got married and decided, well, maybe you should go over into the Divide area, Teller County, right behind Pikes Peak. So I did some stuff behind there for 3 years. Bought a house right almost right behind Pikes Peak. I could almost throw a rock at it, and got a lot of good stuff in that area. But I never told my wife for a lot of years what I was doing because I couldn't tell her. And I knew there was Bigfoots in our backyard up there, and I just said, "Don't ever let the dogs back there." Not thinking that the Bigfoot would tear them up, but if a dog came after them in an aggressive manner, then you have a
Yeah.
different story. Just saying. So I never wanted her in the backyard or the dogs, and I decided, well, and my mom, I had to take care of my mom. She was going through some in her head a little bit, and she was feeding, and she thought she was feeding bears, and now she's feeding the Bigfoots. And I said, no, we can't do this. But she didn't know it. So
Hmm.
so finally it was a good smart thing is just get out of Divide. And what else can you do now, Ken? Is you're getting older now. And what can you do? Because you've been Bigfooting for a while just since then. And back in my early days, we called them woodsies, where we go out and drink beers and do the Bigfoot stuff. That was the mountain Colorado stuff called the woodsies. And so I thought, well, where can I have my woodsies now? Um, where do I go now? I'm married. I want to get Diane out of this area. She doesn't really know what I do. She's a nurse, a pretty simple woman, and I just don't know how to bring it to her yet because I had to figure it out. So go to Estes Park, Rocky Mountain National Park, right there. Come up here in 2009, walked down the street of Estes Park and went, that's not a Bigfoot anything in this town. That's just, I'm going to change that.
Hmm.
Change that. So I start thinking, what could I do? I went down to a local park called Bond Park. We have a local celebrity called Brad Fitch, and he plays John Denver, and he's really good. And all these people are around, and I'm thinking, man, how does this guy? He gets a lot of people here. He goes, man, someday I'm gonna have an event here, and we're gonna have a Bigfoot thing going here. I know we are. That's that inner voice that tells you things that we get as researchers that we listen to. I'm not saying
Hmm.
common sense thing is something else. It's something that's telling you, it's calling you for it, and you're thinking, man. But I knew how to get this event. So I started with giving my own events there. So I got people like David Pilates, my friend. I got people like Dennis Poles from the Erickson Project. Just
Hmm.
good people to start with. And um, so I had 4 events. And like Justin was saying, I had that Bigfoot wall in a store at Safeway Fuel Center, and that brought 4.5 million people come through that town. A lot of them like to stop in there and look at that wall like this man did. And I go to
Hmm.
a lot of people, and sometimes I don't remember everything, but I'm glad that Justin said that I stopped and took time to show him things because it's not about the
Yeah.
glorification of it. Me, a big Bigfoot researcher. It's about education. And like I said about the walking down the street, I get a little bit emotional there, but so you go down the streets of Estes Park, there's nothing there. I start the Bigfoot stuff awareness going, people coming in from like Justin did and think, well, I'm getting reports and it's just starting to kinder now. And then I start going outside and all that whole time I have my own research area. And I got the research area from a local guy who had a sighting, who was a fisherman. But anyways, I got the area. I'm doing all my stuff, trying to get Bigfoot awareness. And I would bought an outfit. Like Justin says, I'm a kind of guy that would wear that outfit up and down weekends, up Estes Park.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of years walking up and down, getting laughed at. I mean, shunned at, just like, this guy's a nut. Why is it this Bigfoot guy walking around? I'm like, I'll show you why. But my friendliness and attractionness didn't draw people away. It brought people. And finally, it was like a mayor came to me and said one year, we can see you what you're doing here. And you know what? We have a lot of festivals here at Estes Park, but I think we can give you a Bigfoot event. And how I kind of got that was building up, and like I said, doing my costumes and trying to have events. But also, I had a sighting there in 2013. So I got a sighting up in the Big Thompson Canyon. It's on Estes Park News. You can look it up. Google Ken Collins, Bigfoot sighting, Estes Park News. And it comes up. I had a sighting. And that started bringing like more awareness. And then I had a second sighting in the same area in the same year. And we had a flood that year. So that really shook up the wilderness there. So getting the sighting, having the event, and a lot of years of being laughed at. And at the beginning, the national park said to me when I found my first footprint in like 1212 in Estes Park on a ranch, I called Dennis Poles from the Erickson Project. The BFRO came up and verified my print on that and says, that's Kenny, that's a Bigfoot print. You got something here. That's kind of was a calling card that opened up a door that if I just kept at it, and in this kind of stuff that we do, 1,000 times we do it, 1,001 time we get something. So I got my 1,001 time and I started getting it. But when I did get it, I got 2 sightings right away. And, we can talk about my first sighting on how all these years of you building yourself up to want to see one. Oh man, when you finally do, be prepared because it's a lot different. And boy, in my podcasts, if you guys look me up, I can go for hours and I get so excited and I can't get it out. And with Justin, I said tonight, I'm going to let you guys present questions and I'm going to try to hold my feelings because after all these years of doing this and you get what I have gotten, we're going to talk about some things a little later on. This is why I'm going to say when we do talk about things later on, I'm just saying, I can't doubt what anybody says to me anymore. I can't be the one that says, oh, it didn't happen. Or I can be the one to say, yeah, well, you're circling shadows, but whatever. I'm not going to say it didn't happen. I got past that and said, you need to just, Igor Bursev told me, the Rush from Russia, my buddy, said, Kenny, you don't always have to believe what they give you. Just take it and don't have to have an opinion. And I went, right on, Igor. That's what I meant out earlier about how I rolled people's shoulders on how they rounded me out to be a good researcher. And to get there, you have to work on the inside, like Justin was saying, how I rescue people and all that. That's all. I was a CNA, a married nurse. I have to work on this thing in here before they're going to accept you, before they're even going to give you anything. Why would they want to give you anything? People say, aren't you there's so much of a rabbit hole here. I see I'm getting started. I'm getting started here. So I'm going to calm out, back off, and get back on track. But
yeah, you see how excited Kenny gets about this guy. It's just like when Grizz gets fired up, man. It's a roll.
It can be bad.
That's how we all are. We have to be really careful because, the first show I did with Grizz, we were at like 2 hours, 18 minutes. It was just, we had a great topic and I was showing my research, but Kenny, guys, he's got so much stuff out there. And the sad thing is a lot of researchers don't know who Kenny is or they don't look at his stuff. And what's so sad about that is he has amazing stuff. he has your trackway that you have, and we got pictures of this, Grizz, um, with the juvenile track,
Yeah.
right? There's not very many people, with researchers out there that find track sets like you do, and you had the one where you had the trackway going on, and then the juvenile like suddenly appeared, right? Because like the idea is the mom like set it down alongside the river or something, and then further on the tracks disappear again, like the mom picked the baby up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we've got pictures of that. He's got pictures of it. He's followed it through. Um, and the picture that you showed me on the wall of red, you can see it through the trees. You know, your big picture. It's really sad because I've seen you post this, and unfortunately, when you post it, the clarity doesn't come through like
Pixel.
when you're looking at it on the wall,
Nope. Just
and
like
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Because like I stood that, you guys know me, I'm detail oriented. I'm going to analyze the heck out of something, and I've got this big picture on the wall in front of me, and it was very clear to me what I was seeing. And the reason like I could tell it was there, I mean, it's an auburn red, you know, orangutan color kind of thing.
Yep.
And there was a motion blur to it,
Yep.
where you could see that it was moving in the picture.
Yeah.
And then the trees themselves were perfectly clear, that there was no pixelation. This was old film, guys, like old school printed Kodak. And you could tell there was something there, the size of it, the bulk of it, that it was in motion. It wasn't one of these shadows.
Yeah,
it wasn't just, oh, that could be a bush, that could be a stump.
Yeah.
You know, it was amazing. Like there wasn't a face, there wasn't anything like that. But yeah, here's some of the tracks. Can you pull up the pictures individually off of that set, Grizz, or
guys, I had thousands I could have sent you. I could send
No,
Yeah.
not the way they. Yeah, I did.
not on that one? Okay, there you go. So Ken, walk us through some of these, man, and tell us what we're looking at here as far as kind of location, as close as you want to tell people, and the story behind these pictures.
Well, after the 2 sightings in Estes Park, I
Mhm.
jumped over across the mountain over Trowbridge Road and went on over into an area near Yampa, Colorado. And me and another friend named Jason, we started a research area. We did a decade up there. What got us going there is prior habituations there and having
Mhm.
about 100 or more contact interactions with them. Okay.
Mhm.
From eye shine, touching, poking, being at the tent, looking at us, looking at out the tent, looking at them with eye shine, and watching one that was called, that's the daddy there. That offspring that this one had was named Elvis. And we called him Elvis because it was a Bigfoot with long hair. It was beautiful. And we called him Elvis. So well, before Jason bothered me on something here, he'd stay away from my area. He would, because he respected me, but he knew what I was doing. What I was doing, I was down here in this reservoir down here, taking prints and getting castings and finding little ones. I'm like, wait a minute, look at these little ones, and they can range from 5.5 inches, 3 inches, but the smallest is about 3, but 5.5 that I sent these guys in a video will show you how inline this was and how this little one was walking, and how if you took the foot and put it in a shoe, it'd be a size 5, it'd be about a little adolescent, 20 months old, but they're not out there walking around a reservoir like that, guys, up there in a straight inline walk like how I find them. And what JD was talking about earlier was, in this reservoir, I see track lines where there's just one track line, and you can see her, something had set something down and they went to a Y. Obviously,
Mhm.
she's carrying it, put it down, they went off like a V. It just shows but this is an area near Yampa. We did a 10-year study. We watched a little one grow. And what I was doing is I was getting these footprints, and I looked down, and one of them's got a distended toe. and it's like stuck out from the others, and you could tell the different type of characteristics in the foot. I found it 3 years later with the toe being more extended out and bigger. So I have a track that's 3 years apart showing there's a pod up there living in the same reservoir that I get prints in. Well, my buddy Jason watched me do all this and went up to a reservoir a mile away from me. So for a year or so, he's doing the same thing I'm doing. Casting prints. He finds one that's got an anomaly in the foot. Last year at a BAW event in Colorado, he saw my prints. He comes up, says, Kenny, my gosh, all these years later, I want to tell you that I've gotten the same prints that you've gotten. But as researchers, what JD was saying earlier, we don't get along sometimes, and people don't want to share their things. And I was like, oh my God, look what we've got, Jason. And look how much more I could tell you tonight what I've gotten out of that area. But I got two researchers together who were in areas that they stayed away from each other. I didn't know about Jason's, of course, but he knew about me. So he gets one a mile above me, guys. So what we did is we put the puzzle together and thought they're walking around up there, walking around down here. And we know that there's a family here. One of them loves Jason. His name is the Elvis one. And he just loves Jason. So Jason has a book out called Harry's, guys. It's ongoing stories of Sasquatch in the Colorado Rockies. And if you ever read that, that's the area where I've gotten what we're going to show tonight as far as the sightings and UFOs and so for this footprint here, I'll just stop here and let you guys we'll get back on track here.
No,
Yeah, that's good. You go for it. Keep going.
So in that area of that range, we know there's Sasquatches in there. So my uniqueness of the BFRO, when I used to go up with those guys, actually are the ones who gave me the area, because that's where we went one time, and I've had some good stuff there, and I just kept coming back. And sometimes in the BFRO they don't like that, because that's where they do their excursions some years. But oh well, that's what it is. Go up there and get what you want, guys. It's not about you can't do it. It's when are you going to do it, and go do it. So don't worry about what they think and what they're doing. I'm not dogging those guys. I'm just saying, out of respect from them, I got the area, and it was a good area. And the mud, they would never go down into the reservoir because they thought there's humans down there too. Yeah, humans and Bigfoots, we run together. We're going to cross. Come on, guys, open up a little more. And I'm always the one that was the unorthodox one. I was the one that didn't stay around a campfire and drink. And I'm not saying they did all that all the time, but I was the one that was out and I was doing things. And like Jason says, or JD was saying, I'm kind of the one that was, watch Kenny, watch out. Well, you know what? Stick with me, and we're going to get some stuff. All of these prints are from that area. And I am not saying that every one of these are Bigfoot. What I'm saying is I like to cast, I like to show that prints impressions in that area, what I'm getting. You make your own mind up. And a lot of them are, I mean, I get some pretty good ones, but as far like this one, and go down to the bottom, go over to left, right, go in 3 right there. That I like that right there. You got it. I like that one. If I took this one right next to Patty print at the donut shop, or we have Patty's print, looks the same right there. I love that one. And then these others got a lot of 4 toes. Sometimes a little pinky don't come down, guys, but you're gonna get 4 toes. These guys.
Well, here, Stazer's in right there. I want to point something out real quick. So the one we're just looking at, notice how the toes look like just little grapes at the end of the foot, right? Okay. And then look at the one right next to it, and has these really long toes.
Yep.
Right? So here's the idea behind that, guys, is that their feet are hyper flexible compared to ours. And a lot of times you find these prints with the little grape toes. What that is they have their toes curled up this way. And they're walking this way, and their toes are curled up. And then my belief is when they need extra traction, or, they're running or whatever, they kind of bring those toes out and they get extra grip with them, kind of like fingers. And that's where we see like these other ones that have longer toes and longer toe prints. See that? And there've been tracks found where they talk about how the toes are just dug right into the side of like a steep hill. And that's how they can climb these amazingly steep hills, because they're literally like jamming their toes in for traction, like a mountain climber with the spikes on their toes. And I love these tracks because I think they kind of exemplify that theory and that process.
I like it.
See, those are some really great tracks, and you can see the sticks and stuff and the breaks from the mud, and other ones you can see where that mid tarsal break is. I mean, guys, these are a great set of tracks, and I like them because they're not all the same, and that's a very important thing. Yeah, because there is more than one of these creatures, and they're different. We have different ages, and even the same age ranges, they have different feet, different morphology. Some have injuries, some don't. And like you said, you had one that had an extended toe. Yep. And just like humans, there's variations. And then that's one of the things I look for when I'm looking at a researcher to kind of follow and study. Do all their footprints look kind of the same?
See that flexation on this, the straight one?
Yeah.
Right there. Right
look at that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's look at that flex. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, look at that flexation there. And I got to be careful how I talk tonight about as far as where I've been and what I've seen. But I have seen a skeleton and a picture and of the Bigfoot in his. I got to be careful. So in the foot though, it showed two bones like this, and I'm thinking, well, I don't think there's. In the picture, though, what they were presenting me, 12-foot Bigfoot, but in the feet, it was like two bones right here. And I'm like, I don't see that. But you look at that, you think, what a flexation, like JD was talking about, how they can flex that part of their foot and use it to their advantage in climbing, like you're saying. Yep.
And another thing, and
let's talk about that skeleton. So what did it look like?
I like that.
So what did it look like?
The skeleton, Kenny, yeah.
Yeah. Did it look like a human?
Guys, what I have to be careful about is it hasn't ever been presented out. People know about it. Few of the good researchers inside the darkness know about it, but I was invited to an area and was presented before anybody else even saw this. And the skeleton looked like some of it could have been cow bones, but if you look at the pelvis, I think to myself, that is the biggest pelvis I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen it. I don't know, guys. What did it look like? But they said it was a Bigfoot. Out of my respect for them, I'm going to say it was. And just like a 12-foot skeleton with no head, because it was devoured by the creatures of the night before they could get it all together. And it was not really disarrayed, but the head was missing, and there was questionable about the feet. To me, I wanted it right away to go with the feet. I love casting. I wouldn't go with the head or the arms. I go with the feet. And I was looking at them like, but that's how I saw it. So.
Okay.
All right.
So here's the picture that we were talking about. Yeah. And again, it doesn't do it justice when you do it on media like this.
Yeah, that was just my first sighting in 2013 was I saw a little one about 80 yards out, and that was my first ever sighting. Was that 2013 sighting ever? As far as first ever is your first sighting. Almost like, wow, that was a sighting that said to me that I couldn't do anything. I had to walk away because something was telling me to walk away, come back another day. He has that picture of the first sighting here. We'll probably show it. This is the second. Okay. This is the second sighting. So I'm going to skip a little bit. Let's go to the second sighting here. So on the second sighting, I get 3 of them. There's a good one of red. That trackway is up in the Wild Basin area. So look at that smash cookie print. I could have sent these guys thousands of pictures, and we can go through a smorgasbord. They just put the picture up, and I'll tell them that is one looking
Yeah,
around the corner of the tree. He was the first one I saw. So when I talk about the first sighting,
because
about a month later, he brought three of them with him. He brought this one, and he brought the red one. He's brought a baby one way over to the left. But this is the second sighting, okay? It's big red. And I was so close that I thought if when he turned to look, I
right
caught
there. Yep. Nope.
go to red. One more to the other way. Nope, other way.
One more.
There you
Right
go.
there. Yep.
Now,
There we go. That's red.
So big red. If you there you go. So if you take and like Justin was talking about the movement, see that light moving? It was about noon. So the sun is shining on his back. He's got a nice, like you said, the coat was red arbon, and
Hmm.
he's moving his arm right there, guys. So what he's doing is he's flexing his arm up, and his fist is right by that branch. You see like a branch right there, but his fist is right up in there. It's so big, it looks like a bowling ball. But from his shoulders, if you walk up the tree a little bit, you see shoulders, and but you see his head in between these branches. He's got his nose facing where his fist is. He's like walking the same. He's busting out of the tree, and I only was able to take one picture because I had three of them, and I had the one that he showed that was peeking around the corner. It was there, and what I was doing was I was watching his baby. And that's what brought this red one out. Because
Hmm.
what happened is I jumped off the rock and the baby screamed at me. Why? Because I'm freaking only 2.5 feet from it right there. He's cribbed. It's cribbed in this little area. And it's got this big honking ear. He looked like a little baby. I went back and looked at pictures of, I'm just saying, I don't believe that they're monkeys, but he looked like a little baby chimpanzee with a big ear. And it was just screaming. This one popped out of the
What
tree
kind of
line.
noise was it making?
This wah noise, just this wah, not like a baby wah, different. It was just
Huh.
this high pitch, like, and I'm looking back because I thought he's right there. The other one's looking at me around the corner that you guys showed the one picture. I said, here I am, getting it so, you can never get these stories in a perfect way. It's happened 10 years ago, and I still don't get it outright. But
Hmm.
with the red one, it bursted out from the tree, and when it threw his fist up, and it didn't look at me right away, but when it took about 3 steps, it did turn at me. And when it turned, it took its whole body. Didn't do this neck thing. The whole thing turned at me. And in his eyes, I saw this look of disgust and contempt because I'd been in that area for 3 months habituating. Got that first sighting. Now I'm getting the second one. It was 2013. We had the floods going on here in Estes, and we were shut down, and these mountains were shook up. So they're bringing out things. We brought out Big Red. Big Red also, after this sighting, a lady came to me from Safeway and said she saw it in her yard after a hailstorm, and she looked out to take a picture of the hail, and she saw this thing looking over a fence at her. So it kind of shows that same year. All right, I got some similarities that it was spotted somewhere else. But when it turned and looked at me with its eyes and that look at me, all I thought was, my God, all it has to do is take 3 steps off the rock and just been on top of me. But then I look back to the other one that was looking around the corner, and I'm like, hey, I saw you not too long ago. I'm not here to hurt you guys, and I know what this little one was doing. I had enough. And people think that at that time that why don't you take a bunch of pictures and all that? Well, won't you come with me and most of the time, most time I do my stuff by myself. I don't want to be the one to be with somebody to have to get them out of there. And it happened to me once, and I last year with a situation like that. I had to get people in. You got to get them out, and I don't want that because I got my own type of way of doing it. But with Big Red and the way he looked at me with that, with these eyes and a look of disgust and content, he looked like Kane the wrestler, protruding brow, and guys had no expression. It wasn't this high. It was just this, if I could, and I thought, I didn't think that. I didn't think he would hurt me. So,
Wow.
but it was
Oh, there
close.
we go.
It was close. It was after the first sighting, and in the first sighting, I had to do something to myself in that first sighting because I wouldn't accept. Why does it telling me to go away and come back? Because Red's waiting on you, and Kenny, you're going to learn about why we talk about in this UFO abductions and how we lose our time. And what happened to me that day was I went back to my truck in tears as a grown man fighting, saying, why am I walking from this first sighting? It was right there. I tell people, oh, you such walk over there. I did, and I walked away. But it told me to come back, and I got the second sighting. But I learned from the first one that they can sizzle you. They could do something to you to zap you. I didn't accept that for a lot of years later, guys. I didn't think, yeah, right. That's what it did. It put you in something that made you go away. But you know what? It gave you something that says, I'll give you something to come back. Well, I love you guys so much. I don't ever carry guns. I don't go out with malice. I'll go out with intent of love. And hey, can I have a sighting today? If I don't, I don't. 100 damn times you're going to do it. You might get something, and it keeps you going. Because a lot of times we do this. We always want something. We don't get it. We want it right away. Blah, blah, blah. Earn it. Go out and do this stuff and go through this stuff. Go through holidays and birthdays and family time, and all these years are gone now. And my kids say to me, you spent everything out looking in the woods for these things. And I say to myself, yeah, but look what Justin said earlier. I can start bringing stuff to people and showing them things, and not showing it all in a sense. I'm this big Bigfoot researcher. Showing that there's a side to these things. When you do find them, they're going to change you. They're going to open up doors for you. They're going to change your world, your life, your family. So, and see, here I go on that. I did very good. I said that in a sense where it does get to you guys. The emotions and the shock. You talk, servicemen. It's not like them, and they're in their service. They go through traumatic stuff in their lives too. Traumatically in our lives, we go through a lot of stuff and with this Bigfoot stuff going down, what I've seen and stuff and experienced, a lot of times in the older years, I can't accept that maybe there's something else with these things, that they're not just these monkeys, but there's some alien in there. And I show you how I've learned that too. So
you've just recently been involved in some kind of films, right? Some documentaries or.
Well, when I talk about, I don't know where I jumped off the boat from, but
You're fine. This is the rabbit hole, man. We follow tangents. We love it. We love going wherever it takes us.
Okay, well, you asked about the movie, so
Yeah.
in a lot of years out there when I was doing this, we were getting orbs, and we're thinking, what is with these orbs and the Bigfoots? So we have an event called the Bigfoot Adventure Weekend, sponsored through Alan, me Gargle, and Ron Myers and Jesse Morgan, and they have an event each year. We go up the little area near Bailey, Colorado, called the Lost Creek Wilderness area, and it's near a place called Wellington Lake, hot spot of Bigfoots all the time in the Bailey area and Wellington Lake area. Lost Creek Wilderness is an area that in our event we have an excursion that we take people out. There's like 4 captains, and we take about 10 people out per team. Well, my team that particular year, I only had 2 because Jim knows I might lose them. If you don't keep up with me and listen to me out there, I'm just going to leave you. I mean, you got to listen. If you want to be this one that's going to go and do your own thing and wander off and disrespect, you're not with me. So Jimmy stuck 2 with me. Stuck a Native American with me one year that wanted to play drums and nobody else wanted him. I said, you come with me. Because you know what, buddy? At one time, I was that guy. I was that guy in the back of the events, lifting my hands up, nobody say a word to me. Now I'm the guy who's doing the events and picking you guys out because you guys never had the chance. So I says, buddy, come with me. Plus, I'm Native American too. My cousin was Miss America, the first full-blooded Native American Cherokee to win the Miss America award. So I have ended in heritage. I had that respect. So I says, come with me, buddy. So he came with me, and another friend came with me. One particular night. What I'm talking about is this orb right here. And what happened is on that night, on the daytime with Conyers, we go up to the area that Jim says you guys go to this area. And with my sensory, I said, we all went there. Me and the two guys went to this area. And I said, you know what? We're not staying here. I feel like we need to go down. So I moved us to this other area. Well, we found a footprint. We go up on, we don't know where we're going. They're following me. I'm the one they got to follow. So I'm taking us up these mountains. I get up on this rocky ridge and I'm like, I don't know. I feel it. It's here. All of a sudden, there's a darn smash print in the ground. And it's hard to get a smash any print unless you're in the mud or snow here. Nice, beautiful smash print. So I get the movie producer. We go back down. We get the movie producers to come up and we cast that print. It's in this movie that I'm going to talk about. So got a smash print. I'm thinking, hey, we got something here tonight. I mean, I moved us. My feeling says that's our calling card. So we're going to come back in about 4 hours. It'll be dark. So we come back to the area. I have my two guys, and the print is flipped out of the ground with the nature side up. Makes sense. They didn't like the cast side. Something flipped it out of the ground, put the nature side up. So we got the print. And I said, then something's going to happen tonight. It's a good calling card here. So that particular darkness comes in. The Native American gets up on a rock and he starts playing his drums, right? But he's getting frustrated. He's like, I can't remember. Boom, boom, boom. What's wrong with me? I'm thinking to myself, he's getting zapped. And I go, don't you know about your Native American heritage, your spiritual side of this? And he's just but I asked the guys that night, if you do see something, let's not be disrespectful. Let's not be screaming and freaking out. And the other guy that was with me was sick. And he says, what do I do? I don't feel good. I go, just take pictures, bro. Can you do that for me? If you see something, you see me moving, you stick with what I'm doing. What I'm doing, you take pictures because I'm going to draw it. So we're there, and Native Americans getting frustrated, and I walk away from it because it was having a negative. I walk away. All of a sudden, it was like Art says in a voice, Kenny, there's something walking up the ravine that we went up. I hear it over here. So what I did was before Art said that he heard something, guys, I go to a rock because I walk away from the Native American because he's getting frustrated. I look up and here comes, I have a military Gen 3 scope and I have a camera hanging here. I put my scope up and I'm looking at this and it's coming through this orb. What I did is I put the scope down and said, Kenny, all these years of doing this, you're so seasoned. What do? You get a picture of it. Whew, get my camera up because the Gen 3 scope's not going to capture nothing. So I go, I got it. I got it. Just one. Put it back down. And then Art says, Kenny, I hear something coming up the ravine. And I'm like, I got to get away from this. Go over and get over about 20 feet over to my left. And I'm looking and put the Gen 3 back up. And here comes a little one walking about 4 feet high. He's booking towards this orb. And then I see it go down. And that's all. And I'm like, and Art can hear me just saying these words. Because I'm like, did you guys, like, can anybody see this but me? Yeah. Lucky enough, Art was taking the pictures. Guys, I'm doing all this. He's like doing what I said he should do. He listened to me. He's got a soul of purity, a Puritan. It's like, right on, bro. We're so shook up after all this. I got everybody, and I says, I got to get him off this mountain. I mean, well, this is what you're here for, guys, ain't it? Yeah, but enough's enough. Let's put our stuff together. It was a pretty good. That's yeah. So it took us a while to get everything together. Art says, I said, all right, look at this beautiful picture. He goes, yeah, well, look at this one. I didn't send the other one because I didn't know if Justin was getting these pictures so I could send a bunch. If I'd have known, oh my goodness, there'd be 1,000. But the opening, what Art got was it opening. So he's got it opening and it's yellow inside and it's opening. It's like, what's that little one running to the orb? Kenny, all these years of doing this, you've seen things out here and you've seen the eye shine, the energy that they have. I could see another dimension that they could go into. and we're seeing it in this movie called Alien Contact in the Rockies, and Ron and Jesse and Alan produced it, and it talks about my orb experience, alien contact in the Rockies. It also talks about a portal up near Estes Park that we got on some land that we think maybe that something was coming out of the portal and eating on a dead carcass that was gifted to us in an area to where we left a gift with a feather in it. What did they come back with? A gift with a headless deer. No blood that looked like it was drug in there, looked like it was dropped in there. And so it talks about that and Estes Park and the alien contact in the Rockies. So with all these years of doing the Bigfoot stuff and being working on my inner soul for them to accept me, and with the Bigfoot realm, I took all that energy and I went to my home state, like Justice says. A lady wanted some help in her museum in Nebraska, and I'm a Nebraskan. So I says, you know what? Go there and there's some good researchers there. I'm not saying there's not. I'm just saying, as a Nebraskan, go there, bring some of this Colorado stuff to you and see what we can do there. And these riverways and then these open, vast cornfields, they're in there, right? Well, I got with the Omaha tribe in Macy, Nebraska. They're right around on the river. They don't accept a lot of people, especially white men. Got to be invited. And if you do go, they kind of give you a sense like they don't want you there. Well, some do, some don't. The tribal chief there, when I first came, I have a Bigfoot guy on my truck, because the museum put it there. Well, I'm jumping around. I'm talking about Harriet and museum, but I'm going back a little bit in Nebraska to the tribal, because I went there and they thought I was an egotistic, title-like kind of guy. By the time I left that reservation, they were like, Kenny, we got you wrong. We got you way wrong. And what I did is I brought Igor out and another guy, and they're disrespectful. So I says, we're getting off the reservation because you're not doing what they've asked. So we're gone. And Igor's I flew in from Russia here. And here I am kicking a guy. I mean, no, we're not being disrespectful. Something happened. I don't know what to go into. I just know that as researchers, we just didn't. And this guy I love. Come on, man. He's from Russia. He's my buddy that studied all kinds of stuff. But anyways, so the kick him off. So I get a phone call, go back to the reservation a month after this happened, this incident with, and they said, Kenny, come with me. The chief did. He says, I'm taking out to an area. I said, okay. So we go out there. We have a few other people with us, but he holds them back. And he says to me, come with me. I go with him. Long story because I'm making it long, but he makes me walk out by myself. But prior to walking out to this area, we could see this big eye shine. And this thing is walking around, and you can see him turn his head because he's one-eyed, and you see him come back and he's looking at you. And he goes, that's Chatanga. That's our native that's our native Bigfoot on this land that been with us. Can he go meet Chatanga? I'm like, what? Go. And I just walk, guys, about 50 yards out. I get out here, and I'm like, oh, here it came at me. This thing came at me. I could hear the chief going, whoa, whoa. It came at me, and it got in front of me, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, looking at it. I'm thinking, can I touch you? It was like this mass. I'm like, can I touch you? And all of a sudden, guys, I just backed off. And I walked past the chief, and he looked at me, and he goes, I'm so sorry, Kenny. I go, whoa, what did you do? He goes, I'm testing your strength. I'm testing your courage. What the heck is wrong with you? Aren't you afraid of these things? He goes, I don't know why she's not going to come after you. He doesn't do that. He goes, I don't send my own people there. He goes, but I tricked you tonight. My God, what is it? And I went, well, remember when the guys were out here a month ago and we had the disrespectfulness? Man, Chatanga was coming to me to say, thank you, brother. Thank you for, and I was like, I am going to touch the spirit of Sasquatch. I've done this a lot of years. I've seen your eyes shine. I've been touched almost by you, but I am right there with this Chatonga that they call on this reservation. And here I am at 61 years old. I'm thinking, Kenny, wow. I mean, and the chief the elders sat down the next morning before I left the reservation. They all heard about it. They come to me like, dude, we heard, kind of like not talking like that, but they're like, we heard what happened, and we want you to know that we live with these things. They're sacred to us. We pray to them. We know we don't disrespect them. And what happened last night is very special because a lot of white men won't get that. We won't let them come here and get what you get. You have something, Kenny, that they want, they like. And how was that? And I just was in tears almost. I was like, my God, I have Native American in me, and I'm experiencing something that happened to me out there on a reservation, that they protect these things. They pray to them before they do anything. There's no disrespect. There's Bigfoots come to them. And
Mm-hmm.
so I learned, and I know why I tell that story is at my age, I've seen a lot and in this what we do and what I did that night was connecting with this and the tribals coming and give me their blessings on it. Ooh, I mean, and so now we jump off to another sense of what Justin was talking about. Another movie is with Harriet. I'm sorry, with the person in Nebraska. I went back to help with the Bigfoot Museum. She posted online the person that wanted help, didn't have money. I didn't even hesitate. I'm down there knocking on her door. She opens it. She doesn't even know me. She's like, "Who are you?" And I don't have money and leave. And I'm like, "No, I'm here to help you." I was there a month and stayed with her, and we did a museum, guys, a Bigfoot. Her dream. She's 80 some years old. She's making a Bigfoot museum out of her home, her garage, everything. I thought that was so cool. So I went down and helped her. I tried to get
Yep.
the established, and she has Nebraska Bigfoot conferences, and we helped her do all that for about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I got it. I thought while I was down there, buy a house here because they're cheap. So I went out to a little town called Blue Hill, bought a house, and during the whole time that I'm helping Harriet, I'm also remodeling this old house I bought. And in the house, a lady had passed away. She lived there 60 years. The family did. The lady passed away. And in the house, all those years of rebuilding it, I kept talking to her. Her name was Ruby. And I'd say stuff like, Ruby, I'm gonna do this to your house today. And just like I fell in love with this ghost. It was like this person who lived there that I knew lived here that nobody took care of because I was told by neighbors that when she had times and needs, nobody was there for her. Because how we are when we're older. Maybe sometimes the family don't take care of their. I gotta be
Mm-hmm.
careful. I'm just saying, maybe some people don't get taken care of in the way they should be. And she was in neglect and demise. She lived by herself since she died in the house, died in this one room. And his house was dilapidated, guys, but it's a beautiful, almost a 5,000 square foot home with just beautiful woodwork, and it's just falling down. I brought it all back out. So one day I'm in a dirt basement in our basement, and down in that basement was this door. It was ugly. I don't know what was wrong with it. It had blood running down, and I'm like, what's going on with this door? And someday I'm gonna tear this room out because that's not right, that door. So, anyways, I'm down there working, and I mixed some cement, got some dirt walls, and I see the string on the light that's hanging down. It's doing this, twirling. And I looked down. I had a bucket of water under me and a Home Depot bucket, old bucket. The bucket was found in the basement. I just used it. It had mold on it. It was old, and it was twirling a little bit. That's why I talk about the energy. When I'm looking at Chatonga and seeing that, I'm also looking at water that's turning, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I've seen a lot of energy, and I've been touching Bigfoots and Chatonga, but that was. I went upstairs and told my wife, and she says, I don't know what's going on down in that basement. I'm never going down there, and you need to tear that room out. So after that, thought, well, okay, that's what I'll do. So I get in there, I start tearing out, guys. I find a box. It's got this um, doll in it. It's got horns on it, and then it's got a chunk of coal and a book in there. It's 185 years old. It's written in German. It's satanic, and I'm thinking, you found what was going on in this basement. So with Alan and Ron doing the first alien contact in the Rockies, and I know them pretty well now, I'm thinking, hey guys, I know that you guys do more than Bigfoot. You do other things. I have something for you. Didn't want to really interact. I pushed it. I said, my God, you got to see what's going on. So when they came out, guys, and did when you watch the movie called A Haunting in Blue Hill, you're going to
Mhm.
see another part of how a certain people can draw things to them. And obviously, I had Ruby with me in that basement. There was so much going from intelligent questions, answering right back. Wasn't this, and you think you heard something, it was clear. Yes. Or I'm not going to give it up. But the interaction we had in my basement, and
Wow.
Ruby was with us that night in that basement. You guys, you got to see it. How
We'll have to definitely keep an eye out for those for
Yeah.
sure.
So that's
Uh,
the second movie of that
okay.
experience I had with the ghost and Ruby, and just showing how the connection there doesn't always got to be. It could be anything.
Yep.
It's the person.
I'm going to break in. I want to cover a couple different things before
Yeah.
we close off here. First, when I first met you, I was living outside of Omaha, Nebraska area, guys. And I know who exactly you're talking about on the res up there because I never met them in person, but I was Facebook friends with them, the Omaha Bigfoot people out there. And those guys are legit. It was part of my first ventures into what people like to call the woo of Bigfoot is listening to these guys, talking to these guys and their experiences, because I was really interested in what indigenous people, Native Americans thought of them and interacted with them, but in current times, not just, our elders did this and ancient times, but how were they dealing with it now? And so I know exactly who you're talking about there. And I have utmost respect for those guys. So I just want to let the audience know that, like, I know where he's talking about. I know who he's talking about, and then there's some really great guys. But I want to wrap around to the footprint, the giant story. I've told what I could remember of from when I said, but you were the guy that handled this. That the lady called and said, "Hey, I need some help. I saw something outside my window." Grizz, if you can pull up that footprint, if you can find it from before, and Kenny, if you want to tell us the story about this giant, a literal giant in Nebraska.
In Guide Rock, Nebraska, guys, they dug a canal through there, and they found 90 giants in Nebraska. Guide Rock giants. Not a lot of people don't know about that. They just don't know. And I thought, I'm not far from there. And heck, if they walk there, they can walk here too. So, and I said earlier, right? I'm not going to deny what anybody saw. If they said they saw a leprechaun and it was on the back of a kangaroo jumping down the street, okay. I can't say it didn't, because what I've seen out there, I can't be the one to say, no, you didn't see it. So she calls
Mm-hmm.
me, like she's living on a farm. She's in like a sheep wagon. And one night she said she looked out and this thing at least 30 feet tall. And she said the moon was behind it. She could see the shoulder, the silhouette. That's what she's
Yeah, I
saying.
don't have it. Can you send me the picture, please?
Yeah, I'll send it back to you. Keep
So,
going, Kenya.
so she says she sees a silhouette, and I'm thinking to myself, God, Kitty, just bite it. I mean, maybe she did. Okay, so I get a call back that she found a print on the area where she's staying there in that sheep wagon. So I'm like, okay, I'm like, let's me come look. So I gotta be, in the start of years of doing this, I got, I wanted to just show it before. So I showed it before of an indent print. It looks like it's been there a little bit. It's got some season in it as far as grass growing. I mean, it's not like a fresh print. It's huge. And it's not like the ones you say it's got the toes, but it's got everything that's characteristics. I'm not gonna. She goes, "Would you just cast it for me?" I'm like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna deny her that. I said, "Sure, I cast it." And you know what? I'm not worried about if I get laughed at and all this. Oh, it's not whatever, guys. Let's just do it. So I did it, and I cast this thing. I don't know how many bags of concrete. It's huge. Almost couldn't get it up out of the ground, but I guess what I could say is it was in a corn. There it is. It was in a cornfield. It was by an area where it could come off the road and step into that area. But what I liked about is when I do my castings, I don't blow the print out. I pour to where the cookie cut is. If it's in there, I pour it to that. I don't try to blow it out. That's just what I did. I'm not trying to deform the print by digging out a heel or any of that. I just go in, needs a little cleaning and blow something out, maybe you could leave all your sticks and rocks in there, whatever you want. But what I did. I just casted this print for this lady, and we called it the giant print. And take it what it is. I just know that her story, the way she told me, and you can tell people's stories sometimes how they are. Just look genuine about it, and that's like I can't accept it didn't happen. I can't accept it did. All I can do is just be the one to present it and help her. And I hope that one day the giant comes back. But that's just what I did, guys. It's just a simple helping someone, not being this negative and. I'm not this guy who's got 1,000 books. I don't sit at a book signing thing. I don't do any. I'm just a simple researcher with dirt under my nails and a print in my hand and my mouth going. And when somebody comes to me with a passionate something, and I just go at it, and this is what the results are.
Yeah, and I remember you messaged me just after this happened, and you said the same thing to me. You're like, dude, I don't even know what to make of this.
Yeah.
All I can do is tell you what happened and what I did, and this was the result of getting this footprint. And it's the same thing I tell people. Like, I can't give you a definitive. I know the story. I know what you told me. Here's our evidence of it. You have to make up your own mind with it. But when you have something like this, you know what I mean? It no longer is just so-and-so said such and such. Now there's something tangible to kind of go with it.
There you go. That's why I try to show a visual
with
my castings to kind of give you guys. There used to be a time I didn't. It's kind of nice to have a visual, kind of give a little bit more of what we were doing. So, but if you look at it, yeah, it's got one side. It would be a right foot. If you take it and just flip it up, that anomaly over here would flip over to there. It would be a right foot. If you walk it up to the top, you kind of see a toe, whatever. But I don't know. It was in Nebraska. And
was there any other impressions around it, or was that just like the one thing that we found?
Just the one thing, because from there it would go into the cornfields. So it would be corn after that. So maybe with the corn being like that, it wouldn't go in. Because he steps on the corn, it acts like a barrier maybe and won't let it press. I don't know. I'm just saying. But the stride was probably a long, big. It would make sense because the stride from the dirt to that corn. My goodness, I don't know how big the stride was, but my goodness, you think it'd be a long stride?
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because, like I said, we've talked about it before.
Right on. I didn't know that you were so into that one because
Oh yeah, dude.
Like I said, sometimes you do things and it's like you're getting laughed at and ridiculed. Like Igor.
Yeah.
Igor with the Bigfoot on the phone. That
was the phone call.
That was my event, and I love Igor. And when he did that, I was like,
yeah, that's even too much. That was too much.
That was it. Yeah. So
guys, he's talking about Dr. Igor Burtsev out of Russia, runs the Hominology Institute. I've met Dr. Igor myself up here, or not. I'm in Florida right now, but up in Tennessee, I met Dr. Igor up there. Coincidentally, the same time I met my now fiance, just after other Jen was watching. She's probably asleep by now. Yeah. But at the same event where I met her, I also met Dr. Igor, Janice, Carter. Yep. And Robin.
And Robin McCrae. Yep.
Yeah, I met all them at the same time because they were up there speaking and doing their thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a little much even for me. I thought that was a pretty big faux pas. And definitely, I think ruined his credibility And I'm not vouching saying it was real or it wasn't real. I'm not going to get into that debate. I'm just going to get into the fact that I think that really ruined a lot of his credibility here stateside, unfortunately.
And to me, he wouldn't care. He
wouldn't care at all. Nope.
He wouldn't care. I love the
Not
man,
one bit.
man, and I know he'd just be like, "Oh well."
That's exactly it. He would not care one way or the other. He's not in it for notoriety. He's not in it to anything. He just wants to put it out.
He's got some interesting stuff that he's done.
Yep.
And, like you said, it kind of shoots that down. But
yeah,
he's, it's all right.
That's all right. All right, man. Hey, man, I really thanks for you coming on.
Yeah. Drinking Mountain Dew on my show without giving me any. Come on.
No, dude. I cover the label.
Nah, you're fine. My mouth is like.
Hey, Chris, nice talking.
I got my jug.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Orange juice, really? Anyways.
Thank you. Guys.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it.
Again, let's do a smorgasbord one where I blast you a bunch of pictures and we'll just sit here, bring them up, we'll talk about it.
We can do it, man. Absolutely. All right, great guys. Show. I'm trying to figure out the audience here because sometimes they don't stop talking the entire show. And this time, I think they were just enthralled and listening the whole time. We did have a couple questions pop up.
What is that?
Well, hey, press like and support these guys. Justin's just starting this, and Grizz is, this out, and I think, and
absolutely.
On that,
I'm out and about.
I'll guide people your way. So.
Yes, that'd be great.
All right.
What do we say? We got 20 some shows. I forget what it was now.
I have no idea. I added
20. We've been rolling this for just over 6, I think about 7-8 months now.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's not counting the other shows we do. I think this is
just
fourth one. Yeah.
Just our show here, just the Grizzly podcast, Paranormal and Cryptid Rabbit Holes. Good Lord, I can't even get it out.
Well, guys, we got Bigfoot Days coming up in April in Estes Park. If y'all can make it, April 20th.
Awesome.
Yep, I was going to say, Kenny, let them know how to find you. Guys, I suggest following him on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can see all kinds of stuff that he likes to put up there.
Bigfoot Loose USA is a good one for Facebook. And Google Ken Collins, Estes Park, just to see some things that in this Rocky Mountain region.
Great. And from coast to coast around the world, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Catch you on the next show.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.